You think of who is hugely popular on TikTok. What comes to mind are young people, 20-year-olds, teenagers, even pre-teenagers. Chip Leighton, who lives in Cape Elizabeth, is an exception. He's a straight arrow, 50-something-year-old guy who likes to fish and spend time with his wife and 2 kids.
Chip Leighton owes his family a monumental debt because they have given him the material that has turned him into a genuine social media phenomenon. That transformation began when he started posting on TikTok in early 2021, a debut that was less than auspicious.
I honestly never thought anybody I knew in real life would ever see it because, I'm just throwing it out there. And
what was the initial reaction? The first 5 times you did it,
not
what was
good.
the response?
It was not good. So I was just posting like weird stuff that I thought was kind of funny. I would do different trends, but it didn't work. And so I told people after 6 months I had 17 followers, and I was going to delete the account actually.
Then he tried posting what he thought were a few funny observations about marriage, and in a matter of hours, everything changed.
It went viral. I remember my daughter called me the next morning, or texted me the next morning. She's like, "Oh my gosh, your post is going viral. It's got 100,000 views and whatever." I was like, "What's going on here?"
Within a couple of days, that post had about 2 million views.
And then maybe the next week, I did these teenager text messages, so text messages from my daughter, and that went viral too. So I kind of figured out then, okay, I should be posting about my life and stuff that's relatable rather than weird, funny stuff,
All right, this is more stuff you shouldn't do if you have teenagers. Okay, first is bring out a platter of food when they have friends over. This is trying way too hard, and it's coming off as kind of desperate. All right, next is talking to your kid's friend if you're driving them somewhere in the car. Don't say hello or acknowledge them in any way. Careful if you look in the rearview mirror because they might think you're glancing at them. Remember, you're just an anonymous Uber driver. Okay, last is bringing your own chair to a sporting event. This draws too much attention to yourself, so either sit in the bleachers or stand, despite the crippling back pain that causes. Chip Leighton had begun to crack the code, discovering what people like to watch on TikTok and Instagram.
And it really was about just things from my life that other people could relate to. And the teenage text messages is a good example because, everyone just jumps in the comments "Oh my gosh, my kid texted me the exact same thing," or I thought my kid was really weird, or I was a terrible parent, but I guess we're totally normal. And that's kind of a fun part about it,
One of his first big successes wasn't about his kids, but his wife.
All right, greatest hits compilation of things I've apologized to my wife for. Went upstairs for the night without announcing it. I'm currently working on a solo version of that scene from Sound of Music where the kids do a big number on their way to bed. I applied the brakes in order to save our lives. I underestimated the trauma that the change in momentum would create for her. When I sprained my ankle, I had a walking boot and I was limping too loudly up the stairs. The thing to do would have been to lay down on my good leg and silently drag my body up the stairs using the railing.
When you first started putting stuff out there, obviously it's nice if people watch it, if people look at it and maybe, give you some sort of a positive response. But were you really looking in any way to build a following?
I mean, sure, a little bit, but I wasn't expecting kind of all of this to happen. And my daughter calls it, seeking validation on TikTok or whatever. But I guess in a small way I was. But really, I love laughing and I love humor, and so I was just trying to create something that would give people a laugh or a smile and just make their day just a tiny little bit better.
When it started to take off, what did your kids think of it?
Well, they do a good job of kind of keeping me humble and keeping me in check.
That's what teenagers do.
Yes, yeah. My daughter's got different terms she refers to me as. The current one is the unemployed middle-aged TikToker, which there's nothing inaccurate about that. I don't put it in my bio or whatever. But
Chip's posts have generated more than 250 million views. It's a lucrative business, one that has allowed him to quit his job as an executive at Hannaford to work full-time on what's now known as The Leighton Show.
What's happened is now I share mostly other people's texts because people from all over the world every day are sending me their funny text messages from their kids. And so my kids' biggest feedback now is you got to make it much clearer. These are not all our texts. All my friends think I'm an idiot that I'm sending all these texts. So it's for the record, it's mostly other people's texts.
It's a simple formula. Sharing texts and calls, most of them questions from teenagers to their parents.
Do I put the bear spray on before I start hiking or just if I see a bear? Nope. Am I a notary? Unlikely. I'm staying with my friend from September 30th to 32nd, okay?
The reason this works, I assume, is simply because it's universal. Because even if we don't have teenagers, we've all been teenagers.
Right.
We know what it's like.
Yeah, I hear that from a lot of people. Hey, I don't even have kids, and I love this stuff. And I think teenagers are funny. They just have this like sense of humor and this way of putting things that you can't really reproduce. Like at one point, my daughter, I was like, this was early on, I was like, you haven't sent me anything funny in a while. She's like, just start making it up. And I'm like, I could not make this stuff up. It's like, there's something that's really authentic that people respond to.
In 2024, The Leighton Show went in a new direction. Chip wrote a book called What Time Is Noon?
It's basically, it's hundreds of these funny teenager text messages, plus like some stories from my family, and I've got charts and graphs and quizzes and other kind of fun things in there. A bunch of people tell me they keep it in the bathroom, which they mean as a compliment, but I don't tell my kids that, but one person's like, oh, I run an Airbnb, I leave it in the bathroom, all my guests love it. I'm thinking we should put like an antibacterial cover on the next version or something, I don't know, but.
Kids grow up. It's inevitable. Are you losing your best sources of material now, Chip?
Well, that's why I've diversified to other people's kids. But I have a friend who was like, oh, you got to have more kids, just for the content. And I was like, I don't think it's going to happen. He's like, look, I got a 13-year-old. Make me an offer. I'm like, all right, that's not how it works. just feed me their text messages.
I don't think he's going to run out of material anytime soon.
No, he is so funny. His delivery is part of why it is so good.
The deadpan delivery is key. But here's an interesting thing. Chip Leighton is well aware that, as he puts it, not every teenager is fortunate enough to grow up in a loving and supportive home. And at the end of the book, which is a New York Times bestseller, he puts in a plug for Preble Street, the main nonprofit that provides services to teenagers and adults in need. He has, for many years, served on Preble Street's board. He's deeply committed to the good work that it does.
Oh my gosh, so he's funny and he's looking out for other people. Yeah. I love this. All right, you're going to find more information about Chip Leighton and about Preble Street in the 207 section of our app and website.